How is everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball and welcome back to another piece of content for you guys today. And what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at Rasmus Hojlund, the first of our player profiles. So we all know that there's a deep in talks with Rasmus Hojlund and Atalanta. Personal terms have been agreed, but there are still a few things to be ironed out in terms of a fee between the two clubs, Atalanta and Manchester United. So what we're going to be looking at is why Manchester United are so desperate to try and tie down Rasmus Hojlund as their number 9 for the foreseeable and especially for next season. So we've got a few clips for you and we've got a few stats for you, but without further ado, let's start off talking about the goal scoring and the shooting of Rasmus Hojlund.
Yeah, so Højlund, he's a 20-year-old striker, plays for Atalanta. He's Danish, he's 6'3", but despite his big build, he's actually a really fast striker. He got 9 goals last season in 32 appearances. Doesn't sound like an overly impressive goal record, but if you look at the minutes per goal, he actually only played about 1,800 minutes, so it's about 203 minutes per goal, so just over a goal every 2 games. So that's pretty good. In terms of like the amount of times he takes shots, like 2.65 shots per 90, which is about above average for a striker in Europe's top 5 leagues. But what's really impressive about him is that despite the fact, we'll show you clips in a minute, but despite the fact that he's a really tall striker, sometimes big tall strikers lack a bit of mobility, but he definitely has that pace to threaten him behind as well, and we'll show you clips of that soon.
Yeah, and it's like there's a kind of, well, I've seen a bit of a narrative forming around Højlund saying why do Man United want to spend so much money on a player that is somewhat unproven. He only broke into the Atalanta team last season with only 9 goals to his name. People just look at the stats and see 32 games, 9 goals, where a lot of those games were actually substitute appearances. So there's not actually a big sample size to go on. But I think that when you're comparing him to maybe other strikers, there's been a bit of a comparison maybe to the Arsenal striker Balogun, who went into the French league last season, scored over 20 goals. Well, let's take a look at why Manchester United are so heavily invested in Rasmus Hojlund.
So we've got clips now. Here are some of his goals. Clearly, a few of these goals that he's been scoring are very much like the one you just saw. He's very much a penalty box striker. He's you can see here his ability to close down. He's really, really quick, and he's actually deceptively quick for a player with such a big build. This is why this example here, this goal here, is exactly why Man United are so excited about it, because look at that pace in behind, that strength to hold of the defender, and actually. That's actually Federico Fazio who's running past, but so not the
makes
quickest,
him look faster.
Yeah,
makes him look faster.
But he was able to hold him off, and what a finish it is as well. This is showing a bit of finesse with his finishing, little dink finish over the goalkeeper. Really, really impressive as well. He seems quite left-footed, but I've actually seen him a bit on his right foot as well. This one here with his right foot. A lot of his goals, I think pretty much all of his goals apart from one, I think this one here, were from inside the box. So definitely more of a penalty box striker right now, but what a sweet strike he's got on his left foot. What I'm impressed as well is his ability to, when defenders are in close proximity, hold them off, find a bit of space and get the shot off, and that's what he's showing in a lot of these clips. I think here another example in the 6-yard box, being a poacher. He's clearly got that in his locker to be that penalty box striker, and now there's a bit more clips of just his ability to get shots off, using the space, using his ability to find the target as well. I think this guy, if you're looking at the clips, how he's able to find space at such a young age, and as you can see physically, he seems to be like, look at this clip here. Look how he burst past that defender, the last
That's
man.
not Fazio.
That's not Fazio that time. And so I think that is the most impressive thing about him. The long strides he has, the strength and the pace, and he's able to get shots off more often than not.
What do you say to people that, he's only 20 years old, he's only broken into the Atalanta team last season? Does he have enough about him right now in this day and age to go into the Man United team and lead that line and be the main man for them week in, week out in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure to put on a 20-year-old striker who's had one season in top flight in Serie A. But it depends what Man United are trying to achieve. If we were expecting him to come into the Man United team and immediately kind of compete for the Golden Boot and fire them into a title challenge, I think that's probably asking for a bit much. But if you're asking him to come in, get between 10 and 15 goals and compete for a Champions League spot, I think he can do that. I honestly think so. I think look at how he's developing physically. He's only 20 years of age as well. He's clearly got great technique on his shooting. That one there, that was with his right foot. You saw how clean that strike was, nearly finding the corner. And I think when you've got a striker with that build and that kind of pace, it's going to make them very, very hard to stop. And he's only going to get better.
And with 1 goal every 2 games per 90, I mean, at that age, that is actually really good, isn't it?
Very good. And you got to remember, he's still so young, 20 years of age. And I think that's why Man United are going crazy about him. And, as you say, on the face of it, 9 goals in 32 appearances, you're like, why this guy, why they're going to bid 85 million for him? But then you dig deeper and he's so impressive in all the facets of his game.
And it's not just goal scoring what's impressive about Rasmus Hojlund, in it. It's that build-up play and the way he's able to take on his man and the key passes that he produces during a game. So what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so he's actually quite an all-round player as well. He's not just about goal scoring. You saw in those goal clips, he very much is able to get into the penalty area and be a box striker and get on the end of things. But he's got a lot more to his game than just being a penalty box striker. He's not one of those players who, if he's not scoring, he offers nothing. He definitely offers more than that. He got 2 assists last season, 1.18 key passes per 90 for a 20-year-old, which is pretty good. But the clips we'll show you in a minute of his dribbling as well. Really, really impressive dribbling ability to hold up play. When he's got men around him and he's isolated, he's able to make something happen. So we've got some clips of his passing and his dribbling ability to show you, to really show examples of how impressive he is, not in other facets other than goal scoring.
With all these clips that we're seeing so far, it looks as though he does have quite a lot of space to operate in, which you probably expect in Serie A, but maybe in the Premier League, when teams are the underdog against Manchester United, some will kind of do a low block, park the bus a little bit. How do you think he would fare in those situations?
I think it'll be a struggle early on because he's still young, and even though he's tall and strong, he's still developing. And Premier League is obviously a different kettle of fish to Serie A. But I think given time, he'll thrive in those situations, in my opinion, because he's only going to get stronger. He's only going to develop even more. And you'll see here, in the situations where they are on the counter and he does have space, he definitely will thrive. And I think the more he grows, he's going to be more difficult to stop, even in tighter situations against a low block.
Well, let's go and take a look at the passing and dribbling montage that we've got ready for you guys here. I mean, he really is, for a 20-year-old, he's so strong on the ball, so quick as well for a big man. And I think, when you're looking at the out-and-out attributes that Højlund has, it seems as though that he could be custom-made for the Premier League.
I think so. I think he's got the physicality. He's clearly got the technical ability. And as well, look, he seems to be picking the right options very, very often. He's got a good kind of vision for the game as well. He does a lot of clever passes in and around the penalty area. You've got to remember, he does play for quite an attacking team in Atalanta, so they do have options around him. But for a 20-year-old, you see a lot of players his kind of age not picking the right options like he does. But look at this, very clever pass, little nutmeg.
Wow.
To his colleague, able to get the shot off. Really, really impressive. I think his link-up play is only going to get stronger as well. I think he's really impressive. And then if you go, I think, is this going to be his dribbling ability? No, it's still his passing, I think, at the moment. But I think his ability to link up play.
Very clever passes there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very clever. Seems to have eyes at the back of his head with his back heels and playing through players. Yeah,
I think. And as soon as he gets used to his colleagues, he's going to know where they're running. I think this is more examples of his dribbling ability, his ability to get round opposition players at such a young age as well. He's a bit fearless. He's able to really use his strength and use his body movements to shift defenders, and they can't really. It's hard to stop him because he's so strong. So even if they get tight to him, he can outmuscle them. So that's something. And he's got quick feet for a big man. And you saw those quick skills he's got with the ball at his feet. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and what else is really impressive about Rasmus Hojlund is how he burst onto the international scene as well. He got a starting role for Denmark. He's only played 6 games, I think, and he scored 6 goals already. So I think that just proves to you as well how much of an eye for goal he actually has, and maybe it proves a little bit that why these 9 goals in 32 games is a bit of a myth.
And I think he thrives on kind of the pressure and stepping up. I think he got a hat trick in one game, didn't he, for Denmark? And that was a game that really put him on the map. I think it was a Euro qualifier. He got a hat trick, and I think he kind of thrives on upping his level essentially. I think he did really well in the Austrian league, and then he's gone to Serie A and just taken it from duck to water. And then he goes up to international level, and he's got 6 in 6 games. So I think United are getting him at a really good time.
Yeah, and you spoke about before saying that potentially it's not going to be a signing that catapults them into fighting for the title next season. But what it does do, it gives them a striker for the foreseeable future for many, many years ahead. And you'll probably say that Højlund is going to grow with Manchester United and could become one of the best kind of strikers in Europe in a few years' time.
And I think what he definitely does as well is, as much as he offers pace behind, they have that with, like, obviously Rashford and Martial. They have players with pace, but he offers a bit more of a presence as well. When they had like Weghorst, I felt up front last season, I felt like it hampered him a bit, even though he's quite a physical striker and he gives him a presence. Like when you got Weghorst there, you can just push up and it's very difficult for him to run in behind. But I think Højlund can do both. I think he's got the physicality to be able to compete with defenders when they got a low block, and even if they push up, he's got that pace to run in behind as well.
So I think Man United fans have every reason to be excited for the signing of Rasmus Hojlund if it does happen. But would you say that the price is being bandied about as a fair price for him right now?
I wouldn't say it's a fair price. It's definitely inflated because he's young and they don't want to lose him. 85 million, even though clearly this guy is set to be a top European striker, I think 85 million is a bit ridiculous for a striker who's only had 1 season at the top level. But I think there's no doubt about it. This guy is definitely gonna go on his way to be a top striker in European football. At 20 years of age, he's already showing this level against experienced defenders in Serie A at the top level. They're really having a tough time with him. International level, he's got 6 in 6. So clearly, this guy's going to be a star. But 85 million, I think if they do pull the trigger on that kind of price, that comes with a lot of pressure early on. And, a few bad performances, all of a sudden the knives will be out for him from opposition fan to be calling him a flop for a miss. You saw, for example, you remember Haaland's first game, I think it was Community Shield, where he missed like an open goal and he was getting clowned on. But you saw he was laughing about it because he knows he's going to be banging them in. Will someone like Højlund have the same kind of reaction if he has a few difficult first games and he have bad misses? And people are sharing around clips of him on social media about his misses and stuff like that. That's obviously a question mark. But if they're patient with him and they don't put too much pressure on him, he's going to be a star for Man United.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. And I think you're right. He's going to need a strong mentality right at the beginning. You saw as well with players coming into the Premier League like Darwin Núñez, how he was being clowned on at times. But I think that you don't get to where you are in the game without having somewhat of a strong mentality. And I believe that for him to get this far, to play for your country, to score 6 in 6 for your country, to come and play for Atalanta in Serie A and score 1 goal every 2 games at that age, I think you've got to have a bit of mettle about you. And I back this signing to be a success for Manchester United if it does happen. I think they're getting a very good player. I think it might not happen for him in the first year. He might take a bit of bedding in period, but I think after that year, I think they'll really reap the benefits, and he could be a really leading player in the Premier League for years to come in the coming years. So that is our take on Rasmus Højlund. That is why Manchester United are going for Rasmus Højlund for a monstrous fee this summer. But let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time.